legalizing marijuana. This was not the case 4 years ago, and it certainly was never the case before that. It's becoming, it's legal now in how many states, people? 9, something like that, recreationally. Definitely the momentum is going this direction. So, libertarians who've been talking about this since libertarians were a thing, from your perspective, what are the Democrats getting wrong in the way that they are going about legalizing marijuana and doing these kind of overdue criminal justice reforms?
I think what they're doing wrong is they're trying to do what they do best, be government and micromanage our lives. They see that the people want legalized cannabis, and they say, okay, fine, we'll give it to you, but just a little taste. We're not going to give you the whole thing. We want to control how much you have. We want to make sure the packages are labeled. We want to make sure you can only buy it from people who are paying us enormous fees, taxes, people that we can rob. You have to buy it from them. You can't grow your own, or if you do, you're very limited in what you can do. Not a single one of them will say, you're free people, go do whatever you want. That's their problem. They don't understand or respect freedom.
In what way are our new weed legalizing friends in the Democratic Party doing it wrong?
They are doing it wrong in the sense that, just as Dan said, they are trying to effectively regulate it to the point of not even, it's a pittance, basically. You have the ability to have marijuana, however, you have to pay licenses if you want to be a distributor. You have to get a medical marijuana ID in Arizona, in our case, if you want to consume it. You have to pay taxes on it. So they're still very heavily entrenched in your lives. The best way for them to actually deal with it effectively is to tackle it on the federal level and completely end the war on drugs. As it stands, at least in the state of Arizona where both Adam and I live, we have medical marijuana. However, because of overarching federal legislation, if I wanted to get a medical ID card, well then I can kiss my firearms goodbye because I won't be sold any. So that's where we really need to tack it, is at the federal level, and that's where they're failing.
Joe Jorgensen, what can libertarians teach Democrats about criminal justice reform?
Yes, first of all, there is still a law, a federal law outlawing it. So that's the first thing that needs to be done, is to get rid of the federal law. As a federal candidate, that's all I could do. However, I can speak and I would talk with state representatives and local representatives. And for instance, in California, there are still places where you have to get a license in order to open up a store, for instance. You have to get a certain license. Something like 40% of what customers pay goes straight to the government. And in fact, instead of illegal marijuana going down, it's actually gone up because it's still just as profitable because it's controlled so much by the government. So what we need to do is get rid of those regulations and make it truly illegal and not just pay lip service to the word illegal or legal.
Adam Kokesh. It's a good call. Really.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh? All right. Well, I love this issue. Thank you for bringing it up, Matt and Vermin. It's not just because I love weed as much as Brett Kavanaugh loves beer, but it's such an important subject to the understanding of freedom. How many of you think Cheeto Jesus never smoked pot? I mean, that's insane. And the fact that he is overseeing a system that criminalizes marijuana smokers is the height of hypocrisy. And it's so obvious, it's so laid bare now in the age of the internet. The reason this is an important issue that really gets to the heart of freedom and is such an effective gateway. I'm proud to say that we have Stoners for Kokesh now with G.I. Mary Jane leading the cause here. Because when you realize that government says, you can't put that in your body, they're saying, you don't own yourself. And the millennial generation, people who grew up in the age of the internet, we're not going to put up with that crap any longer. This is the end of the drug war. We get to make it happen.
Word Supreme. Free the weed, free the people, let my people go, release all nonviolent offenders. I smoke dope, I smoke grass. If you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. The government has no business in this business, and the government has no business doing any business, period. Thank you very much. I'm Vermin Supreme.
And Ken Armstrong.
You know, there's not a single right that we have that the government gives us. We give the government a very narrow and enumerated set of rights, and controlling what we do in the privacy of our own lives is really not the right of the government. So the question of legalizing marijuana has nothing to do with whether I like marijuana or don't like marijuana, any more than free speech. It depends on whether what you say is something I like or not. It is your right to live freely in your life, period.